Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers Channel. Today, we will learn about the explosive developments hitting Port Charles over the next 2 incredible weeks. The upcoming episodes from December 1st through December 12th promise to deliver jaw-dropping moments that will leave fans absolutely stunned as Jason Morgan steps into his familiar hero role, while Michael Corinthos faces a decision that could alter everything he's worked toward, and Carly makes surprising moves to mend broken relationships that seemed beyond repair. Quartermaine Thanksgiving chaos. The Quartermaine mansion will once again become the epicenter of holiday mayhem during the week of December 1st to 5th, when Ned Quartermaine makes his highly anticipated return home just in time for the Thanksgiving celebration. His arrival will bring immense relief to Brooklyn Quartermaine, who has been consumed with worry following the terrifying heart attack scare that nearly claimed her father's life. Ned will waste no time reassuring his daughter that his health is stabilizing and that he's recovering well from the cardiac emergency that sent shockwaves through the entire family. Brooklyn will cling to every word of comfort he offers, desperate to believe that the worst is truly behind them and that her father will make a complete recovery. However, the Quartermaine Thanksgiving dinner will face an entirely different catastrophe that has nothing to do with medical emergencies and everything to do with four-legged mischief. The family's beloved dog Outback will apparently decide that the carefully prepared turkey looks far too delicious to resist, and in a moment of pure canine chaos, the eager pup will launch an all-out assault on the holiday centerpiece. By the time anyone realizes what's happening, Outback will have thoroughly demolished the turkey, leaving it in complete tatters and utterly unsuitable for serving. The disaster will force the entire Quartermaine clan to abandon their traditional feast and resort to ordering pizza yet again, continuing the mansion's hilarious tradition of holiday dinner failures. This comedic moment will provide much-needed levity amid the heavier storylines unfolding throughout Port Charles, reminding viewers why the Quartermaine family gatherings have become legendary for all the wrong reasons. Willow's wedding day crisis. Meanwhile, Willow Tate will find herself drowning in a sea of anxiety and doubt as her wedding day to Drew Kane rapidly approaches. The anticipation that should fill her with joy and excitement will instead trigger waves of uncertainty that threaten to overwhelm her completely. Willow will struggle privately with fears about whether marrying Drew represents the right path forward or a catastrophic mistake she'll spend years regretting. Her internal turmoil won't go unnoticed by those closest to her, particularly Nina Reeves, who will seize the opportunity to plant seeds of doubt in her daughter's already conflicted mind. Nina will approach Willow with what she presents as motherly concern, strongly urging her to seriously reconsider going through with the ceremony. She'll suggest that Willow should listen to her instincts and bail on the wedding entirely if she harbors any reservations about becoming Drew's wife. Nina's intervention will add another layer of pressure to an already stressful situation, forcing Willow to confront questions she's been desperately trying to ignore. Despite her mounting fears and Nina's persistent nudging, Willow will initially attempt to push forward with the wedding plans, determined to honor her commitment to Drew and build the future they've discussed. However, General Hospital fans know that nothing in Port Charles ever goes according to plan, especially when it comes to weddings. There remains significant doubt about whether this ceremony will actually reach completion as Willow continues wrestling with her true feelings. The closer she gets to walking down the aisle, the more intensely she'll question whether saying I do to Drew represents what her heart genuinely wants. Viewers will watch breathlessly as Willow battles between obligation and authenticity, wondering right up until the final moment what decision she'll ultimately make. Will she follow through and exchange vows with Drew, or will she listen to her inner voice and call the whole thing off? The answer promises to shock everyone involved and send ripples throughout multiple storylines. Laura's wonderful surprise. Across town, Mayor Laura Collins will receive an absolutely wonderful surprise that brings genuine happiness amid all the Port Charles chaos. Speculation among devoted fans suggests that John Lindstrom will finally reprise his beloved role as Kevin Collins after an extended absence. potentially returning home from his time in Dublin to reunite with his wife. If the rumors prove accurate, Laura will be absolutely thrilled to have Kevin back by her side after managing so many city crises and personal challenges without her trusted partner's support. Laura will waste little time confiding in Kevin about everything that's transpired during his absence, filling him in on the dangerous situations, complicated relationships, and mysterious threats that have emerged in Port Charles. Kevin's return couldn't come at a better time, as Laura desperately needs someone she can trust completely to help her process the overwhelming events she's been dealing with largely alone. Their reunion will provide viewers with heartwarming moments that showcase the strength and depth of their enduring relationship, reminding everyone why Kevin and Laura remain one of General Hospital's most cherished couples. Michael's enticing offer. Elsewhere in Port Charles, Michael Corinthos will find himself presented with an absolutely enticing offer that could dramatically shift the current power dynamics. The exact nature of this proposition remains shrouded in mystery, but several tantalizing possibilities have emerged. This offer might involve an opportunity to finally strike back at Drew Kane, potentially exposing his questionable business practices or undermining his relationship with Willow. Alternatively, the proposal could relate to further bolstering Michael's alibi regarding recent suspicious activities that have drawn unwanted attention. Another intriguing possibility involves some form of negotiation with Willow specifically concerning custody arrangements and access to their children. Given the complicated history between Michael and Willow, any deal involving their kids would carry enormous emotional weight and far-reaching consequences for everyone in their orbit. Michael will need to carefully weigh the potential benefits against the possible risks before committing to whatever this enticing offer entails. His decision will undoubtedly impact multiple storylines and could either strengthen his position or create dangerous new vulnerabilities that enemies might exploit ruthlessly. Sidwell's power plays. Meanwhile, the sinister Gen Sidwell will continue throwing his considerable power around as he pursues his relentless quest to acquire control of the Port Charles piers. This dangerous criminal will work yet another calculated angle, applying pressure from multiple directions to force the outcome he desires. Sidwell's latest strategic move will leave Sonny Corinthos feeling increasingly cornered and desperate, realizing that his options are rapidly diminishing. The legendary mobster will find himself in an unusually vulnerable position as Sidwell's machinations tighten like a noose around his operations. Sonny will need to dig deep into his decades of experience navigating the criminal underworld to devise an entirely new strategy that might give him leverage against this formidable adversary. The stakes couldn't be higher, as losing control of the piers would represent a catastrophic blow to Sonny's power base and financial empire. Fans will watch tensely as these two dangerous men engage in a high-stakes game of chess where one wrong move could prove fatal. Sidwell's ruthless determination and willingness to cross any line makes him perhaps the most threatening enemy Sonny has faced in years. Trina's family worries. On a more personal front, Trina Robinson will discover that her mother Portia Robinson is pregnant, news that should bring joy, but instead arrives amid extremely troubling circumstances. Trina will struggle to celebrate this exciting development because she's simultaneously worried sick about the police investigation focusing on Curtis Ashford as a possible shooting suspect. The thought of her stepfather potentially facing serious criminal charges will cast a dark shadow over what should be a happy family moment. Trina will find herself caught between excitement about the new baby and fear about Curtis's legal jeopardy, wondering how her family will navigate these conflicting situations. She'll desperately want to protect her mother from additional stress during the pregnancy, while also supporting Curtis through the investigation that threatens to tear their family apart. The combination of these circumstances will test Trina's maturity and strength as she tries to be everyone's rock during an incredibly difficult period. Joe and Emma's investigation. Meanwhile, the younger generation will pursue their own dangerous investigation as Giovanni Joe Palmieri and Emma Scorpio Drake execute another phase of their carefully planned plot. These two determined young people will work together trying to uncover the secret location of Professor Henry Hank Dalton's mysterious off-campus laboratory. Their amateur detective work could inadvertently lead them into extremely dangerous territory, especially if they stumble upon information that powerful people want to keep hidden. Joe and Emma's investigation demonstrates the fearless curiosity of youth, but it also puts them at serious risk of attracting the wrong kind of attention from individuals who won't hesitate to protect their secrets through violent means. Fans will hold their breath watching these to navigate situations far more dangerous than they realize, hoping that someone will intervene before their snooping leads to tragic consequences. Britt's downward spiral. Elsewhere, Britt Westburn will find herself spiraling into increasingly self-destructive behavior as she attempts to numb emotional pain that has become unbearable. She'll throw back alcoholic drinks with concerning frequency, using intoxication as an escape from the growing worries and terrible secrets that haunt her constantly. Britt's drinking represents a desperate coping mechanism for someone drowning under the weight of knowledge she can't share without putting herself and others in mortal danger. During Britt's darkest moment, Jason Morgan will step into his familiar hero role, arriving exactly when she needs someone most desperately. Jason will recognize the depth of Britt's crisis and offer the non-judgmental support she's been craving but couldn't ask for directly. This pivotal encounter might finally create the opening Jason needs to convince Britt to reveal the dangerous secrets she's been keeping locked inside. If Britt trusts Jason enough to confide in him, the information she possesses could blow multiple storylines wide open and expose threats that have been operating in the shadows. The question remains whether Britt will find the courage to unburden herself or whether fear will keep her lips sealed even as she self-destructs. Carly's olive branch. In other relationship developments, Carly will make a surprising gesture toward reconciliation by extending an olive branch to Lucas Jones. These two have experienced significant friction recently, and Carly will decide that it's time to patch things up and restore peace between them. She'll approach Lucas with genuine intentions to move past their conflicts and rebuild the connection they once shared. However, even as Carly works toward this reconciliation, new trouble could be brewing just beneath the surface as Lucas settles into his controversial new living arrangements at Windermere Castle. During the week of December 8th to 12th, Lucas will experience some genuinely eerie and unsettling moments while residing at the Gothic castle. The strange occurrences will leave him feeling distinctly weirded out and questioning whether accepting this living situation was a terrible mistake. Lucas might begin noticing odd activities, overhearing suspicious conversations, or discovering evidence of things that don't add up. If he inadvertently discovers too much information about the dangerous project that Jen Sidwell is connected to while living under the same roof as key players, his life could be placed in immediate and serious jeopardy. Lucas's proximity to sensitive information makes him a potential liability that dangerous individuals might decide needs to be eliminated permanently. The combination of strange castle happenings and Lucas's growing awareness of suspicious activities will create an atmosphere of mounting dread. Fans will worry increasingly for Lucas's safety as he remains largely oblivious to just how much danger he's actually in simply by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Josslyn's mission and Brennan clash. Meanwhile, Josslyn Jax will remain laser-focused on continuing her current mission, whatever that entails. However, her determination will put her on a direct collision course with Jack Brennan, leading to an explosive confrontation between them. Josslyn will clash intensely with Brennan over his decision to send Vaughn away, effectively punishing him for the continued romantic involvement that Brennan clearly disapproves of strongly. Josslyn won't accept Brennan's interference quietly, standing her ground and demanding to know what right he has to control other people's personal relationships. This confrontation will showcase Josslyn's fierce independence and unwillingness to be intimidated by powerful authority figures. The clash between Josslyn and Brennan promises to be intense and charged with emotion, potentially leading to consequences neither of them fully anticipates. Josslyn's defiance might earn Brennan's grudging respect, or it could make her a target for someone who doesn't appreciate being challenged so directly. Carly and Valentin's prison strategy. Back with Carly. She'll likely arrange to visit Valentin Casadini once he's officially transferred from his previous location to a stateside prison facility. This transfer will make meetings between them significantly easier and more frequent, allowing them to coordinate their ongoing plot against Jack Brennan with much greater efficiency. Carly and Valentin will use their prison visits to carefully nail down exactly what's next in their elaborate scheme, discussing strategies and contingencies with the kind of detail that requires face-to-face communication. Their partnership represents an unlikely alliance between two people who might otherwise never work together, but their shared desire to take down Brennan has created common ground. Carly will need to navigate the prison visiting procedures carefully to avoid drawing suspicion about why she's so interested in maintaining regular contact with Valentin. Meanwhile, Valentin will use his cunning mind to continue manipulating situations from behind bars, proving that incarceration hasn't diminished his ability to pull strings and influence events in the outside world. Together, they'll craft the next phase of their revenge plot, setting wheels in motion that could ultimately destroy Brennan's carefully constructed empire. The question remains whether their scheme will succeed brilliantly or blow up spectacularly in their faces, taking them both down in the process. Next, we will dive deep into the emotional crossroads facing Brooklyn Quartermaine and Harrison Chase, as the couple stands on the precipice of major family decisions, specifically their journey toward adopting a child. Brooklyn and Chase at a crossroads. Brooklyn, Quartermaine, and Harrison Chase have long dreamed of expanding their family, but the road to adoption has been anything but smooth for this Port Charles couple. Since this summer's emotional confrontation, when Brooklyn hesitated on their adoption plans, there's been mounting pressure and a swirling mixture of hope, fear, and anticipation rippling through their relationship. For keen observers, it's clear that this isn't just about adding another member to the Quartermaine lineage. It's about healing the emotional fractures of the past and learning to trust each other's instincts. As partners and soon-to-be parents, the shadow of Joe Palmieri. One of the biggest hurdles for Brooklyn has been her complicated history with Giovanni Joe Palmieri. Joe, struggling with the emotional scars of being given up by Brooklyn during his childhood, has found it tough to see her moving on to new family plans. Brooklyn's fear is not just losing Joe again, but unintentionally making him feel like an outsider or, worse, expendable. In past months, she's navigated Gio's emotional minefield with sensitivity, knowing a misstep could shatter their fragile reconciliation. Gio's own journey has been fraught with late-night confessions, stinging words, and gradual forgiveness, a storyline familiar to viewers who understand that repairing family bonds isn't a linear process. Turning the corner, hope for a blended family. Remarkably, Brooklyn and Joe have made significant progress despite all odds. Gio's recent whisper of mom stirred a wave of emotions not just in Brooklyn, but in viewers rooting for their reunion. Brooklyn's tearful recounting of that tender moment to Chase was a testament to her shifting priorities. She wants Joe to be more than just a chapter from her past. She's determined for him to become an integral part of the family's future. This subtle shift may be the very sign Chase hopes for a green light to revisit the once-halted adoption discussion, this time with renewed optimism that their fractured family might finally be healing. Chase's dream, a family waiting in the wings. For Harrison Chase, the longing to build a home filled with children has never waned. His disappointment earlier this year was palpable when Brooklyn called to delay their adoption plans. Chase, whose own childhood was marked by yearning for secure familial bonds, sees adoption as a path to generational healing. Recently, he's thrown himself into preparations, from researching adoption agencies to envisioning bedtime rituals for a future child. Yet, he treads carefully, acutely aware that pushing Brooklyn too hard might strain their relationship just when it seems to be strengthening. The Christmas dilemma: joy or more waiting? With the holidays approaching and the family gathering around the Quartermaine Mansion's grand tree, the stage is set for a monumental decision. Rumors are swirling across Port Charles, Will Brooklyn surprise Chase with the news that she's ready to move forward with adoption, creating the ultimate Christmas miracle? Imagine Chase's joy at filling the empty nursery, once a symbol of loss, with hope and laughter. On the flip side, there's a very real chance Brooklyn may again hesitate, arguing that the foundation with Joe, though improved, is still fragile. She might insist that rocking the boat even with the best intentions could undo all the progress she's made with her son. Unseen consequences, threats to the marriage. Should Brooklyn hit pause again, the fallout could be explosive. Chase, feeling sidelined and disappointed, might begin to question his role in the marriage. Such tension could push him back toward unresolved feelings, in particular his chemistry with Willow Tate, a connection that's never quite disappeared. Devoted viewers recall the subtle glances and lingering what-ifs between Chase and Willow. A fissure in his marriage could reignite old romantic sparks, setting off a potential love triangle as we head into the new year. Showdown ahead. What will Brooklyn choose? As speculation mounts, all eyes are on Brooklyn. Will she find the strength to blend her old wounds with new hope, carving a future that includes Joe as a proud big brother and Chase as a doting father? Or will fear of repeating past mistakes anchor her in indecision, risking everything she's built with Chase? The stakes could not be higher for her, for Chase, and for the future of their family, which makes every conversation, every tearful confession, and every compromise edge of your seat viewing for General Hospital fans. Deeper themes, family, forgiveness, and fresh starts. This adoption storyline isn't just about babies and contracts, it's a microcosm of the broader Quartermaine saga. Fraught relationships, the pain of losing family, and the redemptive possibility of second chances. Brooklyn's struggle highlights the universal fear parents face about repeating past mistakes, while Chase's steadfast support reminds us all of the power of patience and unconditional love. In the end, whether this Christmas brings a new baby or another round of soul-searching, only time and the skill of GH's writers will reveal what's next for one of Port Charles' most intriguing couples. Stay tuned for more in-depth spoilers and expert analysis right here, as the heart-wrenching and hope-filled saga of Brooklyn and Chase's adoption journey continues.